Today, I will unveil some top chess traps where beginners often stumble onto and how you can turn tables to your advantage and win in few moves and gain free elo. Even 15-1600 elo players are falling for these traps. So let's move on to our first trap. The first trap is in the classical variation of the French defense. After knight c3, black goes knight f6, e5 hits the knight, knight moves to safety, knight f3, bishop b4, pinning this knight, you go bishop d3, preparing for castle. Here, castling seems like a natural move, but it is a big mistake. Here, you can play bishop takes h7, and after king takes, you go knight g5 check, king moves back, and then queen to h5 threatens checkmate in one. Black have to give up his queen, and you are completely winning. Even if here, black tries to go rook to e8, then you can play queen takes h7 check, king h8 only move, queen to h5 check, king g8, then queen h7 check, king f8, and then queen to h8 check, king have only one move, and after that queen takes g7 is a checkmate. Let's move on to our next trap. This is in the Budapest defense. After they take, go knight g5, hitting this pawn back. Knight f3 defends. Knight c6 puts more pressure on this pawn. Bishop f4 defends this pawn. Here, you play bishop to b4 check. Black blocks with the other knight. And here, you will play this tricky move, queen to e2. And here, they go a3, trying to kick your bishop out. But you are not going to save your bishop. Instead, play knight takes e5. And if they take your bishop, then knight to d3 is a stunning smothered checkmate. And you just win the game in 8 moves. Let's move on to our next trap. This trap is in the England gambit. After they take, play bishop to c5. They go knight to f3, defending this pawn. And here, you will play d6, offering him another pawn. He will take it. And here, you are going to play this tricky move, knight to e7. Here, more than 500,000 people have taken this knight. Now, you will shock your opponent with bishop takes f2, forcing this king to take, and then you just win the queen in just 6 moves. You like this trap, right? Then hit the like button and let's move on to our next trap. This trap is in the Danish gambit. After black takes, you go bishop to c4. They take this pawn and you recapture this with your bishop. They go d6, trying to develop their bishop. And here you will play this tricky move e5. Here, so many players capture this pawn. And now, instead of trading queens, you are going to play bishop takes f7. He cannot take because his queen will be hanging. Therefore, he plays king to e7. But bishop a3 forces him to take the bishop. And after king takes, you can take his queen and you are completely winning in just 8 moves. Let's move on to our next trap. This trap is in the French defense advanced variation. Black plays c5, attacking the center. c3 defends. Queen to b6 puts more pressure. You go knight f3. They play knight c6, adding more pressure. Here you go this tricky move, bishop to d3. Black thinks that after he exchange, he is winning a pawn. But you will smash him with bishop to b5 check, which is a discovered attack on the queen. And after they block, you can even take this bishop first. And after king takes, you can capture his queen and you are completely winning. Let's move on to our last trap. This is in the Petrov defense. After white takes, you will play knight to c6. They take. Now you will recapture this with your d pawn. d3 defends this pawn Now you go bishop to c5, targeting f2. They play bishop to g5, pinning your knight to the queen. But here you will play this amazing move, knight takes e4. If white takes your knight, then you can capture his bishop. Therefore, he will capture your queen instead, thinking you blunder your queen. But you are going to play bishop takes f2. King have only one legal move, king to e2, and then bishop to g4 is a checkmate.